Hello, welcome to FTV. This is Get It Right. It's a new segment, a new 15-minute short entertainment, information and education. This is meant to give you an idea, it's meant to give you advice on everyday tips. We're hopefully trying to bring you the essentials of life. Things that you've done every day, but as the time goes by, these things are done in a very wrong way, or they're done in a way that actually maybe can even endanger your life. In this edition, the premiere edition, we're going to talk about something that's really dear to my heart: children's safety. Now, I'm a driver and I'm a parent as well. Now, when I'm driving, at first, sometimes I didn't do it, I'm going to be honest, but driving along the roads, sometimes it's become very apparent that drivers have become very more alert in what they do. So you see drivers, which is very encouraging, by the way. You see drivers driving along, seatbelt strapped on, and their passenger is also strapped in. So I see that as a very encouraging sign of the times that, we've moved along. But then there are some drivers that I see that really, to want of a better word, it really pushes me by the wrong way, because you see people or drivers, presumably parents. So what are you trying to say as a parent if your seatbelt is on and you're buckled in and you're safe and your child isn't safe? Are you trying to say that your life is worth more than your child's? So these are some of the things that we need to think about, okay? So we're going to give you some simple tips on what to do and how to do them. There are 3 segments that I'm going to talk about: children under the age of 2, children under the age of 8, and children under the age of 12. Okay, now all these categories, children categories, have to have their seatbelts on. And like I said before, everyone in a moving vehicle has to have their seatbelt on. But in this segment, we want to get it right with the children. Any child under the age of 2 has to be in what we call a car seat. There are 2 types of car seats. There's the rear-facing and the forward-facing one. When your child is very young, you need to use the rear-facing car seat, which is placed in the front, and the child's face will be basically facing the seat, okay? So you can keep an eye and see what's happening. What some people actually do is they have a mirror that they can actually fix in the back of the car so that you can make some connection, or you can see your child's face. If you go into the shop and you're asking for a car seat, they should be able to explain to you or to describe to you which one you actually need. As your kid grows up, they then will migrate or develop into a bigger baby, obviously, and they will need a front-facing car seat. That one you can also place in the front of the passenger seat or the front of the vehicle, but then the kid's face is facing, the windscreen. Some tips that you need to know about car seats. When you go into the shop, you need to ask about your car seat. Make sure you ask the right questions. There are simple things that you need to know. Car seats have an expiry date. They can run for anything up to 6 years. So ask the questions. Ask them about the right one for your child. If possible, take your child with you. Show them to the attendant. Let him know or let her know what your child is like. They will be able to tell you what car seat is appropriate for you, okay? You can also buy a used one. You don't always have to buy a new one. Obviously, we know that baby stuff, and I know mothers, and I don't want to sound sexist or anything, but mothers are quite picky when it comes to clothes for their children, or car seats, or things that they are clothes, prams, cribs, and all that kind of stuff. I know that you want to get the new, but nowadays times are hard. So if you want to get a used one, it's fine. But make sure that you speak to someone who knows. If you can get a car seat from a relative or a friend that they've used it before, that's fine. But make sure that you know where the car seat has been. Speak to the parent. Ask them how strong that car seat is. What needs to go into fixing that car seat, so that you know what is right. As we say on this program, always get it right. You always have to ensure that your car seat is installed properly. Now, what I always do, or what I always tell people when I'm talking to them about this, because it's something that I really care about, is basically If you're going to buy a car seat, speak to the attendant. Get them to come out into your car and fix it for you. Let them go through a run with you, what I call a dry run. Let them fix it for you and let them take it out for you. When they finish, let them stand there and observe you. Do it about 3 or 4 times. I'll tell you what, this is not rocket science. It's not something, it might take time and it might seem like, oh, I know how to do it. But there's time and time again where people have bought their car seats, they've gone home and it's become a tedious chore and they can't actually fix the thing. So please let them run through it. If it means staying there for even an hour, 2 hours, however long it takes, make sure that you've got the hang of the thing and you can actually dismantle and install it yourself so that it's handy, so that you know what you're doing. That is one thing that I always advise. So the next one we're going to talk about now is the booster seat. Now, if a child is between the ages of 2 and the ages of 8, they will need what we call a booster seat, because that's the age that they're growing up now and they can actually wear the seat belt. However, if they're going to wear the seat belts can actually be very dangerous if it's not worn on your chest. So you need to what we call boost them up so that the seat belt actually fits on their chest, okay? I know in Ghana maybe or here, you know, we can't always afford the booster seat. You can always improvise. Get a pillow or get something that's comfortable. Get a cushion that can go underneath them so that it raises them up so that the seat belt fits snugly across their chest, okay? Now with the booster seat, again, as I go back to the car seats, it's a similar thing. Go to the shop, go to the mall, go somewhere where they sell these things and speak to the attendant. Take your child with you, let them know how heavy your child is, how light your child is, and they will get the appropriate booster seat. So a booster seat, if the child is between the age of 2 and 8, is a rough guide, but basically they will go according to the weight. So it's always best to take your child with you when you're going to buy these things. Next one up is the third segment that I talked about. The third segment is the kids between children between the ages of 8 and 12. Now these children are more or less at the growing up stage. They should be able to, in most cases, be able to wear a seat belt, okay? Now if they're in the back of the car or if they're in the front, let them wear the belt, okay? There is nothing more appalling or nothing more insecure than having a kid standing, especially in the middle of the passenger seat and the driver's seat, and he's just standing there and you're driving and whizzing around. Taxi for him, so please, if you can, don't always do this. Get your people, if you're a driver, your passengers come in your car, advise them. Let the children wear a seatbelt, okay? That is very important. Some other simple tips that I'm going to refer to are things like keeping toys in the car, okay? If you're going to have toys in the car, make sure that the toys are soft and cuddly, because if there's a crash, trust you me, those toys, if they are big and bulky, they can injure your child. Sometimes children can be really fussy. I really like that. I really like that Barney. I want to take Barney with me. Barney is soft, so Barney is okay. But there are other ones like the Iron Man or the robot or that dolly that she always goes everywhere with, or that robot that he always goes where with. If there's an accident, that can actually harm the child, or even worse, there could be a fatality. So please, as we say here on FTV, get it right and do it right. So let's take a look at what can happen, some of the things that can happen if we don't wear a seatbelt or if the child doesn't wear a seatbelt. Let's take a look.
Majestic Records.
So let's take a look at a video clip of how to install or to remove a car seat.
Majestic Records. Majestic Records.
These are some tips to remember.
Majestic Records. Majestic Records.
So this has been Andrew, and remember, on FTV, we always want you to get it right.